Hi, everyone. Well, as all of the information starts coming out, we're starting to see that the effects of COVID go much beyond COVID itself. Depression is much higher. The numbers on depression, suicide, alcohol-related incidents, domestic abuse, those incidences are much higher than anything that COVID brought on. And those are the real, kind of unspoken problems that nobody's really addressing. The news media keeps making about COVID, yet all these other numbers are skyrocketing, much more than COVID. And so I really wanted to touch on that because I can see it through social media and people private messaging me. So I wanted to give you some solutions. If you are one of those that have fallen prey to the COVID level depression, I want to give you some tips to turn that around. Now, let's say you're a person who's never struggled with depression. I'm going to give you tips first, but then after that, I'm going to give tips to the person who maybe has had a long-term history with depression. So for those of you where it's really COVID induced, the biggest thing is start with self-care. Make a list of all the things you enjoy doing. Now, I know when you're depressed, you don't want to do them. You're laying on the couch, there's not that energy. But start with that. Just make the list of everything that you enjoy doing. Maybe it's going for walks, whatever it may be. Now, when you're in that depressed state, look at that list and ask yourself, what's the smallest thing I can do in this moment? Now, if your depression on that day is really bad, maybe the smallest thing you can do is to actually get out of bed and take a shower. Well, that's still a victory, if that's all you can do. That's the key question. What's the smallest thing I can do? Because when the weight of depression hits us, we just see everything is massive and overwhelming. So break it into literally the smallest thing. I know when I was in that, sometimes the smallest thing was just getting up and walking to another place in where I lived. That was the best I could do. That's a victory, okay? Start with that. Create a self-care list. Start pursuing the things. Now, here's the key. When you do pursue it and you feel that slight shift in feeling better, make a note, write it down. What's the feeling and where do you feel it in your body? And if you continue watching, you're going to see why this is so important, okay? So really track what you're feeling, and if you don't know how to do that, go onto Google, type in feelings list, print one off, and look at the feelings list and make a check mark. Start identifying the feelings you're having when you do something on your list, and especially where you feel it in your body. Now, this moves us into those with chronic depression, because depression is caused by really repressed anger, guilt, having anger over something they don't feel they have a right to be angry at. It's deep guilt. It's the inability to say no. And that's why all depressive medications have very little effect. It's less than 3% difference between, and it doesn't matter which depression medication you take, it's less than 3% difference between that and a placebo, sugar pill. It's a psychological, oh, this should help me. And so that's why most people that take depression medication, their problems actually get worse and the side effects, depression medication really doesn't work. Now, yes, many people have a brain imbalance, but that's the problem. The reason for depression, what's creating the brain imbalance is past pain that has never been addressed. And so as we deal with the root cause of it, the chemistry will change in our brain and body, and that will relieve the depression. So if you're somebody who's struggling with long-term depression, the feelings wheel is key for you. Print that off. Start tracking as many times. This is one of the aspects of the university program I run. Regardless of what you come to the university for, you have to become an expert in your feelings, because everything we do happens from what we feel. And so all of them print off a feelings list and they track their feelings throughout the day. And you're gonna be amazed. You're gonna start seeing their common patterns of what's triggering your depression, and then what your actions are after it, okay? So that's the first step, is start to track what you're feeling and then what your actions are, and also where in your body do you feel it? Because that place in your body is where you're storing the guilt, the anger. That's what we do with trauma and past pain. It doesn't store in our brain, it stores in our body. And that's what's making us depressed, sick, and hurt and everything. So we need to become an expert in where that is so we can release it. And this is why we also want to know when it feels right, where we feel it. Because like going back to the person who's just has COVID-induced depression, when you start to feel a sense of accomplishment somewhere in your body, you can sit in that feeling, and that will start firing the chemicals between your brain and body to start shifting the brain chemistry that creates the depression. Okay? And this holds true for someone with chronic depression as well, is we need to shift the way we feel. Now, for someone with deep depression, they're underlining really pain issues. They've been through pain that hasn't been worked through yet. So when you are feeling those depressed feelings and you discover in your body, here's the next question to ask yourself. When was the first time I felt this? And you're going to have memories. Memories of childhood, memories of things where you felt rejected, you felt condemned, you felt angry, guilty, shame, all these different things from your parents or other people. That's the source of your depression. When that gets healed, those emotions get reworked. That's how we end the depression. Now, for most people in those moments, they were made to feel helpless and they couldn't say no. Remember I said that earlier? That part of depression is the inability to say no. Well, same thing. Make a list of all the things you're saying yes to that you want to say no to. People, places, and things. Where are you? It's called giving yourself away. You're probably trying to be nice or not speaking your truth, most likely because of the past pains you've been through and the messages you were sent back then that you can't stand up for yourself. And you're repeating that. That's the anger and the guilt. You feel like I have no right because you were sent the message younger that I can't stand up for myself. And so you're just repeating that now in your day-to-day life. So make a list of all the things you can't say no to. And the same thing. Look at that list every day and say, what's the smallest thing on this list that I can say no to? What is it? Pick an easy one. Now, for many people that struggle with no, they don't, even uttering the words no, it's like, I can't even say that. So here's a great phrase for you. If someone asks you to do something and you want to say no, just say, that doesn't work for me. And then if they go, well, why doesn't it work for you? Because it just doesn't work for me. Well, that doesn't make sense. Why doesn't it work for you? Because it just doesn't work for me. Do you see? You never have to say no, but you're setting a boundary. And you never have to explain yourself. So now you don't, because we get caught in that guilt trap of having to explain ourselves. So it's literally the magic phrase that works every time. It just doesn't work for me. And whatever they come back with, just keep repeating. It just doesn't work for me. That's how you can begin to say no. And wait till you feel that feeling of power. You want to talk about getting rid of depression? Say that phrase. And you're just going to be like, oh my God, I can take on the world now. All right? So there's obviously much more to this. This is a short little video. If you're struggling with depression, whether it's COVID related or a history of depression, send me an email. I'd be happy to set up a time to talk and give you deeper solutions. And if you're looking for that, don't hesitate to reach out or comment on the video and I'll point you in the right direction. So hope that helps you. Have a great day.